It all starts with Ren Suo, a fresh college graduate who lived a completely ordinary life. Not long ago, the world he lived in went through an unbelievable event known as the awakening of spiritual energy. This energy filled every corner of the universe, allowing talented people to awaken special abilities through training and cultivation. Those who manage to awaken these powers are officially called extraordinary beings. Ordinary folks need to use breathing techniques to form chi and start cultivating, but Ren Suo guarantees he is completely different from all of them. That is because, besides the traditional cultivation methods, he has a totally unique way of getting stronger. And this very different cultivation method basically consists of playing video games in his daily life. This whole story started the exact moment he got a mysterious video game called the Small Worlds gaming console. To begin with, this console simply appeared at his doorstep without any explanation. At first, he thought some dishonest seller had sent a counterfeit product instead of the Hell 4 console he had pre-ordered. However, the mysterious device ended up connecting to the television by itself, synced with the controllers, and turned on completely automatically. It was exactly at that moment that Ren Suo realized that console would break all the rules of what he considered possible in the world. He discovered that inside this game, it is possible to create literally any character your imagination can come up with. Upon creating the character Assassin of the Heavenly Palace, he notices that the NPCs are so realistic and smart that they seem like real people being controlled. But the mission ends up failing when the receptionists dressed as bunny girls are not fooled by his disguise and refuse even a bribe. Besides the next-generation graphics that look just like reality, the game offers an absurd amount of freedom for the player to perform any kind of attack they want. With this, he manages to activate a slow-motion skill and instantly take out all the enemies that appear on the screen. But the surprises of this console do not stop there, because something even more unbelievable happens every time he manages to beat a game. As soon as the challenge is successfully completed, he celebrates the victory big time in front of the television screen. The events of the game turn into real news, showing that a mysterious blonde girl climbed the highest mountain in the world barefoot. To make things even better, Ren Suo always receives a corresponding treasure chest as a reward for every match he manages to win. If he can find the corresponding key in the real world, he can open this chest and gain new abilities in real life. From that day on, the young man became completely hooked on playing video games to keep unlocking new extraordinary powers. It all started on a normal day with the prota lying peacefully in his bed until he hears the doorbell ringing insistently. He gets up quickly and realizes that the long-awaited moment has finally arrived. Upon opening the door, he comes across the mysterious box and celebrates that it is the highly anticipated Hell 4 console. He introduces himself as a very healthy and energetic young man who always wanted to have a video game to play freely whenever he wanted. After finishing college, he used his internship money to buy the Hell 4 online while renting a place at his uncle's house. He wanted to take advantage of this free time to enjoy great games, but gets confused when pulling the mysterious object out of the box. He holds up the round device with both hands and starts examining it very carefully to try to understand what that thing is. Suddenly, a mysterious bluish smoke starts coming out from inside the strange circular object. Ren Suo wonders if they really spent that much effort just to create a dramatic mystery mist effect in the packaging, coughing a lot because of the smoke. He complains about whether the manufacturers really had nothing better to do. The young man opens the gear-shaped compartment and gets even more confused by what he finds inside. He holds the mysterious striped ball over his head and realizes that it definitely does not look like the Hell 4 console. When trying to examine the object up close, he notices that not even his fingernail can fit into the extremely thin grooves of the sphere. Not knowing what to do with that weird item, he decides to grab his phone to contact customer support. In the chat, support explains that a coupon was automatically applied and that they sent him the Hell 4 Pro version as compensation. He decides he will test the device first, and if he does not like the result, he will return it within the 7-day window. The young man is suspicious because the Pro model should not look like that, but decides to give it a shot and test it anyway. He soon realizes that the device has no controller, power input, or plug, looking just like a giant piece of useless junk. In the middle of this confusion, the delivery guy knocks on the door bringing another package and asks Ren Suo to sign for it. Upon opening the new box, he freezes completely when he sees the real Hell 4 Pro console shining before him. Knowing that this new video game is the correct model, he wonders what on earth that black striped sphere on his desk could be, with no logo or cables. The sphere just looks like a bootleg paperweight, but he admits it would make a good decoration. Suddenly, the official controller that was on the table begins to glow intensely, leaving Ren Suo quite startled. Right then, the television turns on by itself and displays the title of the mysterious Small Worlds game on the screen. The screen displays notices stating that the wireless controller and the sound system have been connected automatically and asks to create an account. He is impressed by the console's ability to connect wirelessly to the controller and the dummy TV, but finds it weird that he has never heard of it. Looking at the packaging, he suspects the device is domestic, remembering that most of these consoles are usually a scam. He searches the internet for that unknown company and wonders if the device might be a test prototype delivered to his house by mistake. The name of the sender company appears on the television screen, which makes him think about creating a username using the game's own writing system. He chooses to register the name Ren Nesser, joking that if he starts getting spam messages in the future, he will know exactly where his data leaked from. Suddenly, a light shines from the console and performs a full scan of the young man's body and soul, locking the device from being used by anyone else. The system welcomes player Ren Nesser at level 1, wishing him fun exploring the possibilities of the small worlds. A spectacular intro screen appears showing a colorful galaxy, promising endless fun for anyone who ventures out there. He highly praises the game's home interface, finding the modern look very beautiful and well-produced. Facing two very distinct options on the menu, he decides to choose the button that asks what he should do from now on. The game friendly suggests that he visit the World Shop to check out and play the free game made available that week. Although he thinks the free game might be something very simple, like those involving pushing boxes, he decides to enter the shop to check it out up close. Seeing the available search and free game of the month options, Rensuo decides to click on the search tool first. Unfortunately, the system warns that each search costs 10 merit points and that he is way too broke to search for anything. He gets extremely irritated by the brutal honesty of the message and complains that they do not even explain where he could top up this in-game currency. With no other viable choice, he decides to just click on the free game of the month option to see what is available. The system displays a confirmation, asking if he would like to download the free game called Assassin Rensuo. Finds the name strange and thinks it must be some minor foreign game, but decides to download it right away while waiting for his other games to arrive. The game is described as an action RPG that features extremely immersive and realistic assassination gameplay. In it, the player controls a modern assassin who travels the world using time-slowing powers and mastering combat techniques and firearms. The system explains that the free level 1 stage will not grant exclusive rewards and that he has just over 14 hours before the game deletes itself. He is shocked to see that the download finished almost instantly, which reinforces his suspicion that it is a very light and small game. However, an intriguing detail crosses his mind and makes him stop suddenly to think things over. He questions how the console connected to the internet, but concludes that it is not that surprising since it managed to automatically connect to the TV. As soon as the game starts, the guy is dumbfounded to realize that the absurd graphics of that rainy street are not an animation, but the game itself running. He is marveled by the realistic quality of the lighting, the rain, and the scenery, comparing it to the biggest releases in the gaming industry. Convinced that this is a big-budget game, he decides to use the appearance settings recommended by the system to save time. The default appearance recommended by the game features a bald assassin wearing a suit who sports an intimidating secret agent look. Among the suggested characters, the bald assassin has the special ability to slow down the flow of time to have superhuman reflexes. On the other hand, the clown assassin character has the power to shapeshift, but this option requires 30 merit points to be unlocked by the player. Another option locked for 30 points is the demon hunter, a powerful swordsman who masters a legendary swordsmanship style. Each of them starts with very distinct specialties, with the bald warrior already starting by mastering both hand-to-hand combat and the use of weapons. On the flip side, the clown warrior starts with only basic knowledge of firearms and enhanced techniques for throwing objects. The demon hunter focuses solely on being a master of the sword, making the bald warrior the only free and fully recommended option for beginners. He concludes that it makes no sense to spend money on a game that will be erased in a few hours. Opting once and for all for the recommended bald assassin, Rensuo customizes the character's appearance to give him local features and decides to save him very simply under the name Assassin. Upon finally taking control of the character, he guides the assassin through the busy street while passing by a drunk man chugging a bottle. The intoxicated man gets irritated by the character's proximity and yells aggressively at him, asking if the guy is trying to steal his drink. The drunk lunges furiously to attack the character in the suit, demanding that he should not even think about trying to take his precious bottle of liquor. With the quick reflexes of a professional agent, the assassin easily dodges the blow and grabs the attacker by the shoulder without showing any effort. After knocking out the attacker on the sidewalk, a mission appears on the screen to secure a legitimate identity to enter an important banquet at the Blackthorn Tower. The character walks under the rain toward the imposing Gothic facade of the Great Tower, which is the main objective of the mission. He observes some receptionists dressed as bunny girls warmly welcoming an important guest named Mr. Ricard at the entrance of the place. Seeing how the security and service in the building's lobby are extremely sharp, the young man realizes that trying to sneak into the place is impossible. As he approaches the main entrance, one of the beautiful receptionists blocks the assassin's path and politely asks to see his invitation. A dialogue option screen pops up with alternatives involving lying, using physical force, or even trying to bribe the employee. He analyzes the available options of bribery or combat and chooses the second alternative because it seems like a good bluff that will not cost him real money. The character acts completely calm and tells the girl that he is a manager from a local company who just needs to go up to grab some documents. However, the receptionist does not fall for the assassin's smooth talk and replies that access to the building is closed, asking him to return the next day. The Proto questions who could have given that restrictive order, and she fires back saying that the family who owns the building themselves ordered the closure. An error screen pops up warning that the first entry attempt failed miserably, leaving the player pulling his hair out over the obstacle. On the second attempt, the girl loses her patience upon seeing him again and calls the heavyweight guards to teach the nosy guy outside a lesson. One of the security guards grabs the assassin by the collar in a very aggressive manner and tells the guy not to cause trouble around there. In response to this physical threat, Rensuo quickly mashes the buttons on his video game controller to counterattack the security guard. The character in the game pulls off a spectacular combat move and brutally slams the guard straight into the ground. The other guard runs away in a panic, calling for backup over the radio and shouting that a hostile target just took out his team member in the alley. With the guard defeated on the ground, options appear on the screen, allowing the assassin to take the enemy's items, drag the body, or get rid of it. He watches the screen with total seriousness, realizing that the mechanics of this mysterious console game are much more complete than he imagined. However, the guy ends up getting a very unpleasant surprise in the following seconds of his first gameplay. A whole horde of armed security guards appears shooting at the same time, causing the character to be mercilessly gunned down right after. The game returns completely automatically to the moment when the assassin was safe inside that rainy alley. After accidentally testing the violent path, the young man resolves to try the other 3 dialogue alternatives to attempt to infiltrate the building from the front. He decides to test the first option, making the proto lie to the receptionist by saying that he had forgotten his invitation at home. The receptionist smiles and asks for his name to check in the system's photos, which results in another immediate mission failure. He tries the third option and attacks the receptionist directly, but the guards react fast and gun him down, causing yet another failure. Finally, he tries the fourth option by offering a cash bribe, but she refuses to accept it and calls security immediately. He laments big time upon realizing that all 4 direct choices lead to a dead end unless he can find out what a guest looks like. With that, he could use the clown assassin's disguise power, but remembers map-wide that he does not have the necessary merit points to buy it. The young man concludes that attacking directly or trying to break in with brute force is definitely not the correct choice to get past this part of the game. Regarding the bribery option, he suspects that the big reason it went wrong is that the amount offered by the character was way too low. He reveals that he also tried going around the building to use the back door, but found heavily armed men in black doing security. Despite all the defeats, Rensuo flashes a confident smile upon realizing that he finally managed to brainstorm a perfect infiltration plan. He decides to use the forgotten invitation lie again to intentionally annoy the receptionist, causing 2 security guards to drag him into the alley. As soon as the guards take him out of the sight of the other enemies, the assassin breaks free and starts landing quick blows against them. With precise hits and great agility, the character knocks out the first security guard with a powerful punch that drops him straight to the ground. The second guard panics and tries to hit the radio to call for help, but is cut off before he can utter a single word. The assassin leaps quickly and lands a spectacular kick to the opponent's chest, preventing the security alert from being transmitted. With an acrobatic move, he slams the second enemy hard against the ground of the rainy alley to finish the fight once and for all on the other side of the screen. Rensuo is shocked that he only pressed 1 button and saw the character pull off such a complex sequence of strikes. The system asks on the screen if he would like to use the clothes of one of the defeated security guards to disguise himself and continue the infiltration. Wearing the full military security uniform of the building, the character walks calmly toward the imposing facade of the tower. The receptionist asks where the other guard is, and the disguised assassin answers naturally that his colleague just went to use the restroom. The guy tries to say goodbye to finally enter the building, but the girl notices something very wrong and glares at him with immense suspicion. She realizes his voice is different from the real guards and calls the security team, who shoot and cause another mission failure for the player relentless. The guy decides to map out an alternative route, planning to knock out the alley guard and use his uniform to try another approach. This time, he uses the disguise to go to the back door and surprise attacks the dangerous guards dressed in black guarding the entrance. He skillfully dodges the strikes and throws the first guard in a black suit with extreme violence against the stone ground of the place. With the enemies down, he notices that the back door is locked, but realizes that the heavy thunderstorm with lightning and thunder can be his ally. Taking advantage of the deafening sound of thunder to muffle the sound of the impact, the assassin delivers a powerful punch to break the glass window. In an extremely agile and silent movement, the character leaps through the broken window opening straight into the building. He lands perfectly on the hardwood floor, celebrating that the noise of the storm successfully hid the sound of the shattering glass. Without raising suspicions, the disguised assassin begins to walk slowly through the luxurious and shiny inner corridors of the great tower. Suddenly, while stealthily walking down the hallway, the character hears footsteps approaching and instantly goes on high alert. He bumps right into a group of mobsters in suits who question him about what he is doing there, and he lies saying he got dirty in a scuffle. The proto points to the stairs of the place and says, with complete charm, that he is just going up to change his clothes and put on a clean suit. The leader of the group takes a long drag from his cigarette, assesses the situation for a moment, and tells the guy to move along without causing any more trouble. In front of the video game screen, Rensuo celebrates big time upon realizing that the thugs in suits and the regular building guards do not actually know each other. He deduces that the receptionist and the normal guards have been working together for a long time, which made the security guard disguise useless against them. On the other hand, those men in suits are private security hired only for the event, having no clue who actually works at the venue, with a confident smile plastered on his face. The young man knows that an inevitable clash against these elite bodyguards awaits him just ahead. After slipping past the guards and changing into his original suit, the assassin enters the banquet hall with a new mission to tag suspicious individuals. The guy is quite impressed to see how the missions in this video game offer such free and varied paths for the player. He looks at his phone and notices it is 7:48, concluding that he has only 12 minutes to fulfill the mission objectives. The young man wonders what kind of weapons he could find at a banquet, seeing that silver forks and knives deal little damage and are only good for throwing. He decides to guide the assassin to examine the guests up close, making the character look intently left and right. The assassin subtly bumps into a man in a brown suit to analyze if he is carrying any suspicious object hidden in his clothes. The special ability activates and detects that the guest is carrying a fully automatic pistol, instantly tagging the weapon's location right after. The guest carrying the pistol is labeled by the system as a suspicious individual and has his position highlighted on the screen. Rensuo understands that searching for weapons and identifying suspicious people is the same task, since the suspicious targets are the ones carrying the weapons. When the target turns his back, the option to pickpocket the weapon appears on the screen, requiring the character to go 7 seconds without being detected. However, the man starts moving across the grand hall, which makes the pickpocketing process quite difficult since it requires the target to stand still. Since pickpocketing takes time, and the man will not stop walking, the guy resolves to follow the target from a distance until he decides to stop somewhere. Suddenly, the suspicious guest notices he is being followed, turns around, and questions the assassin in a rather harsh manner. The man sharply asks why he is being followed, drawing the attention of all the other suspicious guests who are at the venue. Stepping back to play it off, the assassin accidentally bumps into a woman, causing her to spill wine all over her outfit. Quite irritated by the situation, the woman yells angrily, complaining about his lack of manners and questioning how someone like him was even invited. The guy is left open-mouthed by the extreme realism of the virtual character's reactions. Impressed by the technological power of that console, he notices a hall attendant quickly approaching with a clean towel to help the guest clean up from the spilled wine. At that moment, Rensuo gets a genius idea to use the game's massive freedom to create his own opportunity instead of just waiting around. The assassin steps forward with determination and intentionally bumps into another elegant man who was holding a glass full of a drink in his hands. The impact causes the drink to spill straight onto the target's clothes, prompting a staged apology from the prota. While the target tries to clean himself up, totally distracted by the commotion, the assassin seizes the perfect chance to start the silent pickpocket. The theft is successfully completed, and the character obtains a silenced pistol, along with 17 rounds of ammunition stored in his inventory. However, an unknown hand suddenly touches the prota's shoulder, revealing that he ended up catching the attention of another suspicious man. The suspect draws a weapon, binds the assassin with glowing chains that restrict his movements, and coldly orders him to get out of there. The system warns that the location of the Beretta 92 pistol has been tagged, but alerts that the hero is currently held hostage by a dangerous individual. The armed man guides the chained assassin out of the main banquet hall, commenting that he noticed they were being watched. Pressing the barrel of the pistol directly against the hero's head, the captor coldly warns him to stop sticking his nose where it does not belong. A loud gunshot sound echoes through the hallway, serving as the perfect cue for the player to hit the indicated button and pull off a counterattack. Seeing the golden opportunity pop up on the screen, Rensuo yells excitedly and mashes the button on his controller with all his physical strength. The assassin breaks the chains in a swift motion, dodges the opponent's aim, and advances determinedly to pin the captor. With flawless reflexes, he takes control of the enemy's weapon and fires a precise shot straight into the captor's head. The clock hits 20 hours and the system warns that the mercenary group has initiated an attack, revealing that the real mission is to protect a VIP. In the distance, sounds of heavy gunfire begin to echo through the hall, showing that the armed clash at the venue has already started violently. One of the enemy shooters positions himself to fire, but freezes in shock upon realizing the assassin is fast approaching from behind his back. Faced with multiple shooters firing at him at the same time, the prompt appears for the player to hold down the Roan button and activate powers. Without losing a single second, Rensuo presses the Roan button on the video game controller extremely fast to use his ability. The hero activates bullet time and trajectory prediction powers, managing to dodge the enemy bullets with acrobatic movements, taking advantage of the slowed down time flow. The prota fires precise shots at each of the opponents who were trying to ambush him in the hall. He takes cover behind a marble pillar upon hearing an urgent warning about the presence of a sniper positioned on the upper floor. Very hyped by the action, the young man celebrates big time upon noticing that the game allows him to face entire hordes of enemies alone like a hero. The hero leaps from his hiding spot in spectacular fashion, opening crossfire and trading fierce gunshots against the mercenary group. The hero's special energy runs out and the power deactivates, forcing the assassin to continue the fight using only his regular weapon proficiency. Without the power to dodge bullets, the hero ends up getting hit by several shots at the same time and falls defeated with the game over screen flashing. The young man makes a funny face of disbelief at the quick defeat and tries to figure out what went wrong in his combat strategy. The game displays a screen with 2 autosave file options, so the player can choose where they prefer to restart the match from. He loads the second save file and reads the system tips explaining how his special instinct power recovers over time. The guy gets confused upon entering the hall and seeing that 8 suspects already appear tagged on the map without him having to bump into anyone. He happily realizes that the progress from his previous attempts is saved, meaning discovered information does not get reset. Using the accumulated knowledge, he easily avoids the suspect's field of vision and manages to steal another silenced pistol without any issues. While waiting for the attack to start at 20 hours, he takes the opportunity to bump into more guests and identify new suspicious targets in the hall. After analyzing the entire layout, the assassin chooses a great piece of cover that will be ideal for putting his cover-and-shoot tactics into practice. The game clock finally hits 20 hours, kicking off the battle against the assassins, while the guests panic. Rensuo hears the sound of the first gunshot echoing from very close by, and realizes that is the beginning of the armed clash in the building. He knows that gunshot sound is the perfect cue to move, while the assassin prepares from behind the column to strike. With a precise and extremely silent shot, the character eliminates the captor with a fatal shot straight to the head. Intense gunfire breaks out all over the hall, with shots being fired from all sides and generating widespread chaos at the banquet. The prota hides behind a solid pillar to shield himself from enemy fire while waiting for the perfect moment to counterattack. The invaders notice the armed resistance, panic, and start requesting urgent backup over the walkie-talkie. The guy finds it strange to see enemies armed with heavy assault rifles. Since he thought this would just be a simple gunfight with pistols, he notices the rifles were hidden under the tables and plans to defeat the enemies carrying pistols while the others reload. Taking advantage of the opponent's moment of distraction, the assassin breaks cover and fires precise shots to eliminate the weaker targets. However, another shooter armed with a heavy assault rifle starts firing in his direction, forcing him to seek shelter again. He quickly crouches behind a marble pillar, while a hail of bullets whizzes past very close to his head. Unable to escape the crossfire of the enemy rifles, the prota is shot several times and ends up out of action in the middle of the hall. Rensuo gets very excited upon confirming that the rifles were actually there, realizing he needs a better weapon to beat the challenge. He loads the previous save file and manages to focus on 15 targets at the same time, besides identifying the weapons hidden under the tables. His weapon mastery skill activates and points out the exact location of a powerful Steyr AUG rifle hidden under a table. With only 2 minutes left before the clash starts, the hero draws the heavy assault rifle and positions himself to begin the fight with the new weapon in hand. The assassin fires devastating shots and eliminates several invading mercenaries in just a few seconds of heavy gunfire. Using the powerful rifle, he manages to clear the hall with great ease and celebrates for finally completing that incredibly difficult stage. However, several elite bodyguards surround the assassin, demanding that he drop his weapon at once and questioning what his real identity is. Analyzing the 3 response options on the screen, he thinks the first 2 are acceptable, but the third one just seems like a silly provocation. He selects the option where he claims to be working on commission and that his sole and exclusive objective there is to protect young Karen Rampalugi. But the security chief is suspicious of the Prota, thinking he might be an undercover imposter, and orders his men to lock him in the restroom. One of the bodyguards in sunglasses surprise attacks the assassin from behind, delivering a powerful blow to the character's neck to knock him out. The hero loses consciousness, and the system warns that during this time passed out, the VIP Karen was taken out, resulting in another mission failure. Undeterred by the defeat, Rensuo reloads the game right away and returns to the moment when the armed guards were surrounding him in the hall. This time, he selects the first alternative and says with complete charm that he is just a secret admirer of young Karen who came to save her. The security chief is surprised by the unexpected answer and asks with suspicion if that fantastic story is actually true. The assassin guarantees it is, and the chief ends up accepting his help, ordering the guy to lead the way ahead along with the elite squad. They march down the hallway under the threat of explosives, but the guy laments not being able to see Karen's face since she is being protected way in the back. Suddenly, a huge and destructive explosion destroys part of the facade of the Great Gothic Tower, causing panic to spread even further at the venue. Already positioned on the 2nd floor of the building, the assassin in the suit uses his automatic rifle to drop the enemies trying to come up the stairs. One of the surviving mercenaries quickly pulls the pin on a hand grenade and prepares to hurl it in the Prota's direction. With elite quick reflexes, the assassin fires precise shots and eliminates the targets on the floor below before the explosive can be thrown. The experienced security chief is shocked by his insane strength and asks in awe if the guy is some kind of ancient ninja or samurai. A mysterious window pops up on the game screen, allowing the player to freely edit one of the dialogue lines spoken by his character. He gets very excited to find out he can change the name of his own assassin faction in a totally customized way in the menu. The system's default text identified the character as an assassin, coming from the organization that carries Rensuo's own username. Finding the regular username boring, he decides to create a title that sounds way more mysterious, powerful, and intimidating for his faction. He changes it to Heavenly Palace, and the security chief associates the name with an ancient kingdom, prompting the system to ask for an explanation about the place. The hero makes up that the Heavenly Palace is a secret organization from the Zhuan Kingdom, and the security chief promises a handsome reward for the help upon heading down to the 1st floor of the building. The young man takes full control of the character and easily destroys the enemy's last line of defense.